Hello, hello. Testing 1, 2, 3. Welcome, everybody. All right. Well, uh, happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to today's Tech Talk with DigitalOcean and myself. My name is Chris Sev. I'm a developer advocate at DigitalOcean. And we've got some people in chat already shouting out where they're coming in from. Please, everybody, join in. Hello, Daniel from Portugal, all the way over there. Michael from Denmark, all the way over there. Gonzalo from Mexico. Welcome, welcome. Ooh, we got Spain up there from Guy. Hopefully I said that right. Welcome, everybody. I am hailing from Las Vegas, Nevada, the city of lights and casinos and all that good stuff. Welcome to today's Tech Talk. Ooh, Kenya, Ghana. I love the African communities out there. Hi from Romania, Daniel. Jonathan. Ooh. Jonathan here is the founder of what we'll be talking about today. So no pressure, huh? Hey, Jonathan, welcome to the stream. Hey, Ian from Boca Chica, Texas. Buhamadou from Senegal over on LinkedIn. Welcome, everybody. In today's Tech Talk, I want to talk about something that is really, really a fun topic. And it kind of is really interesting because it changes the way that you think about building applications these days. And I think this is a long time coming. Calculus, right on. Love you all. I think this sort of mentality with Inertia.js is a long time coming. And I think it's very brilliant as far as how we can build modern day applications. So let's get started. Hey, Freddie from Guatemala. Everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to have a lot of fun today. So Laravel is a PHP framework that I personally love and enjoy working with. I built a website using Laravel called Scotch.io. We got up to about 4 million page views monthly, all on Laravel. So Laravel as a tech stack is fantastic for building out any sort of application that you like. So let's talk about the way the world has gone in the past JavaScript land of maybe 4 or 5 years. So we've had Laravel and kind of these monolithic stacks, right? Where you have all of your tools in one framework. And what's ended up happening is everybody's kind of moving into this Jamstack world because Jamstack is fast, it's secure, and it lets us deploy static sites globally, which makes it really, really fast for our friends all around the globe, all of you in chat. And that's kind of one of the big things I had to deal with when working with Laravel, building out Scotch.io, which was a global website, is how do we get static and quick sites across the globe. So we ended up doing a little bit of static generation there, which actually took a lot of work. But what ends up happening, and let me pull out my notes. And when I say notes, it's just a VS Code file. So what ends up happening is you have the monolith way, right? And then you have the everything under one framework. And that's as far as your routing, your front end views, your backend service, and your routing and your front end views. So we have 3 things, right? We have 1, 2 is routing to get around your application, and 3 is your front end. So your backend, your front end, and your routing. And this is kind of the monolith way. And then if you look at the Jamstack way, which the JavaScript world has been going lately, right? We're going to say kind of more of the separation of concerns way. So what that means is your backend service can stay, turn into an API, which can be done with like Laravel, Ruby on Rails, whatever you use, Laravel here. And then your routing is done in Laravel, and then your front end views is done in Laravel or whatever backend that you're using. Jamstack way kind of says, look, let's build an API where we send data to our front end, any front end, but we're now decoupling the backend from the front end. And that can be like React or JavaScript as far as Vue. And in today's Tech Talk, we will be using Vue. So if you're If you've seen any of my previous Tech Talks, I usually lean React, but today we'll be using Vue just to kind of switch it up. And I guess that's 3 here. So 2 here is going to be where is our routing? That kind of moves to our front end application as far as React handles the routing there. So this is kind of the 2 different ways to look at things. And if you are looking at the Jamstack way, which if you've built a Jamstack application lately, you get all of these problems. And I don't want to say problems, I guess. I want to say work to do in your API layer. Because right here, your API layer is how you connect the backend to the front end uh, through an API layer. But now your API layer needs to have authentication, authorization, all that kind of stuff. Miracle, what's up? Boris Love, welcome. Let's see. So yeah, you have backend services, an API layer that you have to build out now, and routing. Your front end application which handles the routing. So now what we end up happening is we have 2 GitHub repos. We have the backend repo, and you have the front end repo, and now you have to deal with deploying 2 separate applications, right? And you also have to write a lot of stuff. A lot of this stuff in the API layer is REST, or now you see a lot of GraphQL coming out, but that's a lot of stuff to be learning, writing about, kind of a paradigm shift from what you know. And a lot of this is like, I'm coding more now because I have to build 2 separate parts of my application. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could just say, look, we can keep the front end in React and Vue and JavaScript land. We can keep the back end as Laravel, but let's just delete all of this stuff right here in the middle and make both of these magically work together. And those are supposed to be like magic signs. So that's essentially what Inertia.js is doing for us. It's saying, look, there's a lot of writing that you have to write in here. Let's see if we can get rid of it and pair the back end and the front end all without writing so much code. So today, let's build a real-time messaging app, and we're going to build that using Laravel and Inertia and Vue.js. And I'll show you all the cool things about Inertia and why I really, really enjoy working with it. So let's get started. Ooh, from Taiwan, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining, everybody. Okay, any questions on kind of the Jamstack way versus the Monolith way? So if we go back to, and at any time, please throw questions in the comments. I'm happy to answer them as I go along. And also, there will be a section at the end of this Tech Talk for comments. And also, this Tech Talk is recorded and will live on the DigitalOcean YouTube channel. All right, so let's get to inertia.js.com, and I'll post a link in chat here if you want to follow along with me. So Inertia is the modern monolith, is kind of what they're billing it as. And I think that's pretty accurate. It's building monolithic applications where everything is easy to build because it's under one GitHub repo. It's all in one location, and you still get the benefits of using like your front end application. So build single page apps without building an API. And that is actually a really amazing thing because an API is so much work and a lot of code goes into it. Let's get rid of it. So let's get started. I want to get an app up and running. I'm going to go into my Laravel apps directory. I'm going to say Laravel new Inertia. We'll let that run. All right, so that's there. I'm going to go open this up in VS Code, which is my editor right here. And let me zoom in. So we have a bare bones starter Laravel application. I'm going to hide the status bar, hide the activity bar. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is set up a database, and we are going to build a messaging application. I guess you could call it like a chat app if you want. We're going to set up our database real quick. I'm going to go to environment, database connection. I'm going to remove all of this and just say SQLite. We're working locally. It'll be easy enough. Database, new file, database.SQLite. Yassine, what's up? Welcome. Akhilesh, welcome from India. Okay, so we have SQLite as our database. We have that set up. Um, Now, next thing, let's go ahead and build out our model, our migration, and our controller for our messages. So I'm going to say PHP artisan make model, and we're going to say migration. We actually don't need the controller, so I'm just going to do the M. Oh, oops, I forgot name. So we're going to call this message. We have created a model and created a migration. And this is just quick setup for our Laravel application so we can get our models and stuff. This is not really the focus of today's Tech Talk. I do have previous Tech Talks on getting started with Laravel, building a Laravel API, using Laravel databases, and you can find those on this channel. Ryan Olson with a question, why aren't you just using Jetstream to start? This really isn't focused on Jetstream. Jetstream adds a lot that you have to kind of understand, and we really want to just focus on Inertia itself today. I do have a previous Tech Talk on Jetstream, actually, if you want to search for that on this channel. We've done a lot of Laravel on this channel. Okay, so we have our message. Let's go set this up, and then we'll start working with Inertia. So I'm going to go to message. Let's go down here. We're going to say detected fillable is equal to message, or sorry, text. Each message is only going to have one property. It's going to be text. And then let's go over to messages table. And then I'm going to set up our migration. We're just going to say table string message, or sorry, text. I keep doing that. And we'll make it nullable for here. Okay. So we have our message. We have our messages table, and that's all good there. I think that's enough to set up our database. So let's go PHP artisan migrate. All right. So we have our messages table, all that good stuff there. All right. Let's see. What else do we need for setup? Let's start working with our routes. So next up here, let's just talk about building out a Laravel application. So if I go into routes right here and I go into web, here is our get file. And actually, let's go and view this. Let me spread this out right here. I'm going to break this out here, and I'm going to break this out here. And Abdul Basit says, what theme am I using for VS Code? I am using Monokai.pro. I come from the Sublime Text days, and I'm a big fan of Monokai. Cool. So we have that going. Let's go and test this out. Inertia.test. And here's our brand new Laravel application. So that's all good there. Okay. So next up, let's say we have our route get where it returns the view called welcome. How do we go from route get here to route get about? Turn view about. And I'm going to go over to my resources, views, and create an about.blade.php. So this is traditional Laravel application. I am the about page. And then we're going to have an A tag here. href is going to go to the home page, go home. And then in our welcome.blade, let's go over here and just go down here. A lot of stuff in this boilerplate, huh? Go down here and then just at the top of this thing, let's do an A tag right here, ahref about. Harold says, why not PHP Storm? PHP Storm is awesome. I just like VS Code. It's preference. Okay, so if I go over here, here's the about page. I click this, it goes to /about, and I go to the about page. I click home, and I go to the home page. But this is kind of a traditional Laravel application, right? And then if we go to web.php and we say, okay, well, let's go to our about page and let's go grab all of our messages. So we're going to say messages is equal to message And I'm going to auto import app models message right there, all. You can pass that in as this, messages, like that. Okay, so what we have here is passing in our messages array into our view called about. So we go into about, and I know my naming is all weird, so we can say for each. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting my Laravel syntax for eaches. This is what happens when you spend too much time in the JavaScript world. Okay, so it is messages as message and for each. And we'll say message text. So this is kind of how you can show all of your messages on the about page. We don't have any currently, but that's okay because this is good enough to just show on our about page really nothing. And that's okay. So let's go over here. We're going to create, let's do one real quick message, create text. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. Okay, so that'll create one on refresh. And there we go. There's our message right there. And if I just refresh, it'll create a bunch in the database. Okay. But the thing is here is this is how we build out a Laravel application, right? We have our eloquent models, go grab database information, send to our Blade views. So let's start talking about inertia and why inertia is cool. Right here, we are basically routing from homepage to about page, and it does a page refresh every time. If you're building out modern day JavaScript single page apps, you're never going to see that page refresh. It's all kind of one seamless experience right there. Hey, Bobby, what's up? Thanks for joining. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the Inertia docs and let's walk through the installation. And if you have some time, check out the core concepts. Who's it for? How it works? And we're going to go over how it works after the install. So let's go server side here. Basically, you just do a composer require Inertia Laravel. So let's grab that, go here, paste that in. And that install is good. Sweet. Let's go down here. We need a root template. And let me copy this and I'll talk through this. Right on, Bobby. You came right at the perfect time. We are just now starting the Inertia install. What we've done is we have a homepage in Laravel. We have an about page in Laravel. And now we're installing Inertia. So let's go over here. Inertia wants one view file. So I'm going to say new file, app.blade.php. And by default, this is the file that it wants. And here, we have an application where we are adding in our app.css. We're adding in our app.js, which is pretty much where our app is going to live. And then it says Inertia here. So Inertia setup for our Blade template. This is all we'll need, and everything else will be handled inside of Vue templates. So from here, we are done with Blade. Now we set up middleware. This is real quick. Paste that in. And the docs do a great job of explaining all of these things. Definitely read through them when you get a chance. We have to add middleware. Go into the kernel file in app HTTP. And at the bottom of our web array right here, let me zoom out. We are going to add the Inertia middleware. Okay, so on the back end, we are done with the Inertia setup. Let me double check. Yes, we are done with the Inertia setup on the back end. So next up, we need to install Inertia on the front end. So I'm going to go client side right here. I'm going to install right here Inertia and Inertia View. And let me zoom in here. So let's copy this. And I promise this is going to get good. This isn't just going to be me walking through the docs this whole time. So I'll paste that in. Cool. Let's go down here, initialize app. So now we are going to copy all of this, and I'll walk through it real quick. We're going to go down to resources, JavaScript, app.js. We don't want this bootstrap file anymore. And let's delete the bootstrap file actually. Okay. So this is going to be the start of our Vue application, and it's going to be using Inertia. So Inertia exports this app component, and we're basically going to say in our app div, render our Inertia application. And this is the setup that's required for Inertia. And now Inertia will take care of the connection between the backend, Laravel, and the front end Vue. So let's scroll down here. Progress indicator is cool. Let's go ahead and install this and paste that in. And this part's not necessary. We'll just install it though. There. Okay, so that's it for our app.js. And let's see, code splitting, you can set that up later, but that is going to be it for our Inertia setup. So install on the back end, install on the front end, create app.blade, create app.js. Okay, any questions on any of the installation? I do want to do one more thing because we don't really like building out ugly demos around here. So I'm going to go to Tailwind. I'm going to go grab Get Started, Installation. I'm going to go down to get the CDN file, which is not recommended for production. It's too big of a file, but we'll make it easy here. And I'll go into app.blade and paste that in right there. So we have Tailwind now. Our app should look decent. All right. So that's set up. That's talking about how Laravel currently traditionally works. Let's close everything out. And now we have Inertia installed, brand new Laravel app. Let's start working with Inertia. So I'm going to go into web.php. And we're going to say this is the Laravel Monolith way. Okay, I'm going to delete all this. So let's start talking about the Laravel Inertia way. So let's create a route. We're going to call it hello. Return inertia. And I'm going to use the inertia helper here. I'm a fan of the helper's way. You could also do inertia render like this. But for me, I personally just use the helpers. And what you do here is you're going to say, I want to give you a Vue component to load up. So we're going to say hello is our Vue component, and that's it. So let's go create a Vue component, resources, JavaScript, new folder, pages. So it is required to have this pages file. And the reason for that is if you go into app.js, it actually looks in the pages folder right here for whatever file component that you're creating or that you're loading. Okay, so let's go over here, pages, and I'm going to say hello.vue. Now we have a Vue file right here. We're going to say template, div, hi there, I am the hello page. And since this is Vue, we get to do it everything in a single file. And that's it. So that's a Vue component, single file, Vue component. Okay, so to get this up and running, we need to now run npm and all that good stuff. So we're going to go into our webpack.mix, and I'm going to say .vue right here. And for development purposes, I am going to say browser sync inertia.test. So we can just have this load up the page and restart the page whenever we make changes. That'll make it easy for us. All right, so now we can finally run this and get to our running application. npm install, I think is done. So we're going to say npm run watch. All right. Error, solid. Let's see. Mix command not found. Let's go and do an npm install. I think I may have missed the npm install. Abdul Basit, good question. For someone who wants to start with Vue.js, should they start with Vue 2 or Vue 3? I recommend if you do npm install Vue, it installs Vue version 2. So I would recommend going with Vue 2. You can always upgrade to Vue 3, and all of your Vue 2 code will still work in Vue 3, which is cool. But Vue 3 does give a little bit more stuff that isn't really, didn't do the npm install. And I think I actually missed the npm install on Vue. Thanks, Jonathan. All right, so let's double check our package JSON, see what's going on in there. Down here, we have Vue, we have Inertia, we have Inertia View, and Inertia Progress. We have Laravel Mix. I think that'll be good to run, right? npm run, watch now. It's going to say, oh, you wanted browser sync. Let me install some dependencies, and then it'll error out. It'll tell us to run it again. All right, so now we run it again. Everybody cross your fingers. I think this is the one. There we go. Okay, so if I load up localhost right here, this is our application. And if I go to /hello, check this out. This is the hello page, okay? So this is rendered as a Vue component. Laravel actually said, look, this is the hello page. I'm going to send you a Vue component. So one more thing I want to do is let's add a second page, and then we can really talk about what Inertia is doing for us. So here's hello. What's another? Contact.vue. And I'm going to go over here, just copy this whole thing and say contact.vue right here and contact us. Okay, so we have two hello and contact. And I have to go create the route in Laravel. Route get contact. I missed a semicolon. Okay, so we have two pages here. Now, if I go to hello and I go to contact, we get two pages. Cool. But we really don't get to see the benefits of Inertia just yet. And I want to show you one more thing that we're doing. And this is going to be where the fun happens, right? So we're going to do a new component right here. We're going to say Inertia link. href is going to be contact. Go to the contact page. An Inertia link is something that's built into Inertia. We get this out of the box, and it is basically going to let us link over to the other page. I'm going to copy this, put it on the contact page, and put that right there, and go to the hello page. Okay, so let's click over. And the cool thing about this, which is, I don't know if it's hard to tell or not, is there is no page refresh. If we were doing this here, where's the other page, inertia.test, and we click this, there's a page refresh, page refresh, page refresh. Here, everything is done with JavaScript, and you get the experience of a single page application. So this is really cool because we get the benefits of routing on Laravel, where if we go look at web.php, we have hello and contact, and it looks like a Laravel application on the back end, right? But on the front end, you get Vue, single page components, single file components over here. So you have hello and contact. And the way that this works, if you go to the Inertia docs and it says how it works right here, let me walk you through it. Basically, Inertia is a routing, they say it so much better than I could. At its core, Inertia is essentially a client-side routing library. And basically what it does is Inertia says, oh, you want to link over to another page? I'm going to make the request with Ajax, go get the information, send it back, and then we will re-render the page that you want, the information that you want, all that good stuff. So if I go over here, that's the About page. I don't want that one. We go Inspect. We go to the Network tab, XHR right here. I can click, go to the contact page, and notice how it didn't actually refresh the page. It made a request to go to the contact page. And then the Laravel backend, the Inertia on the backend said, okay, check this out. I'm going to give you props. I'm going to give you a component to go load up. And here's the URL. Here's all that good stuff. Go ahead and render that. So that's kind of like the fun magic trick of Inertia. Is it is going to do all of your requests. It'll go to Laravel. Laravel will say, look, let me give you back the data. And then Inertia on the front end says, okay, well, let me route to that specific component. So it's really, really cool to say, look, I'm going to get rid of all of the information here as far as API calls, all that good stuff. So I want to do a little bit more of this and show you more of the benefits. This doesn't really show fully the benefits of doing all of this. I think we'll get to the benefits. The next two things we're going to do is get data from Laravel into these Vue components, and we can see how that connection works. And two, we're going to create a form on the front end and see how we can process a form and create like a chat box on the front end. So those are the next two things we're going to do to round out this tech talk. And when it switches between pages, Inertia dynamically swaps the page components, which means Vue doesn't have to reboot. Yes. Jonathan, awesome. Lots of good stuff. I also saw the work you all did with modals. That was fantastic. Let's see. Travis says, why not Node.js? Really, if you want Node.js, then go for it. This is a solution for anybody that likes Laravel, like myself, and they like Vue and JavaScript on the front end. So it's a fantastic stack. I think it really all depends on how you and your team work. Maybe you have JavaScript developers on the front end, and you have PHP Laravel devs on the back end. Pick your stack for your team, right? Okay, so next up, let's go over here, and we're going to say, let's go get all of these messages. I'm going to push this right here. And how do we get this into our Vue components? Well, we pass it in normally like we would with Laravel. Spelled that wrong. So notice that the difference between kind of the Laravel way and the Inertia way is just this, what we're rendering, right? We're rendering with Inertia versus we're rendering a Vue with Laravel Blade. So on the back end, very little has to change if you're bringing in Inertia. On the front end, you can have somebody that likes Vue, likes React, likes Svelte, do all of their stuff. And the way that they can get data is, check this out. You say props, and we're going to say messages is an array. Now up here, we can say, let's loop over the messages. Div, let's go v4. Let's say message index in messages. Is it in? I always forget my syntax on for loops. All right, so here, let's go key is index. My for loop could be wrong. And I think this is kind of what Travis is saying, right? Like there's a context switching of I'm going from JavaScript to the PHP side, and already you've seen me kind of mess up my loops. So just be aware of that. Message.text. All right, let's go see if this works. Go to the hello page. Did something happen? I might have broke something. V4 message. Oh. There we go. Okay, so we have our messages coming in from Laravel into our Vue component, and our Vue developer sees this as a normal Vue component. Our Vue developer actually has no idea that data is coming from Laravel or from a parent component or an API. They just know, look, this component gets messages. So that's kind of the awesome part, right? Is we saw the context switching scenario where I had to go from PHP to Vue, but if you have a team where you have Vue developers on the front end, you can say, look, stay in Vue land. I will give you the props that you need, and I'll tell you what the props are that you need, but don't worry about the back end. And yes, Jonathan has a great point here. Folks using Inertia tend to prefer that, since the appeal is working with a monolith. And I'm going to touch on that next, because that is a very big productivity boost when you don't have to build two repos and an API to connect the two. So this is how you get data from Laravel into a Vue file. Let's start talking about how we can send data back and start making that two-way connection, right? So here, let's say we're on this hello page. Really, I should have named it messages, but that's okay. Let's say we wanted to have a form. So let's drop this Inertia link right here. And I'm going to create a form. We have Tailwind, so let's actually make this look good. So text 3XL, font extra bold. Jonathan in chat is actually also a co-author of Tailwind, so a lot to thank him for in this tech talk. Font extra bold, let's go for margin bottom 12. Add a message. And then for these messages, let's go for class is going to be background white, padding of 8, rounded shadow, and that should be decent. And then here, let's go for class is flex, column, justify, center, item center, background blue 500. Okay, gigantic because I'm zoomed in. That's okay. Okay. Let's see. One more thing. I know we aren't really wanting to get into styling, but I cannot abide. It has to look at least decent. So let's do that. Space X of 10. Min height is screen. Almost. Sorry, just bear with me for like 10 more seconds and we're going to get this to look good. This will be text blue at 100. And then this one is space. So let's do a margin bottom of maybe. All right, let me catch up on chat. Anyone, if you have more questions, I see a lot of people in chat. Let's see. Yes, it seems like there's a lot of questions on hosting here. Muhammadu says Laravel embeds Vue.js by default, so why not use Vue and Vue routes? What does Inertia bring us? I'm going to get to that point right now, because the idea is, what if you did not have to write API calls or the backend API? So right now we are only in web.php, right? So let's say we had we wanted a chat box to create messages on the front end, and then the back end says, okay, let me save messages, and then I will give you back new messages. Oops. Almost here. Flex, space, X right there. What did I do wrong? Oh, let's wrap this in a div. Okay. So we have this here. We have our chats right here. We're going to say add a message, and then let's add a text box down here. We're going to say form. And we're going to say input type. Actually, let's go for text area. And then let's say, okay. So let's do a couple things. So we're going to say at submit.prevent is equal to submit, and vModel is equal to form.text. And then down here, well, let's add in rows, is equal to 8. And then down here, we're going to have methods, and then submit is going to be one of those methods. And this is going to where we're going to say send data to our backend. And then we're also going to have data right here. And we're going to say return form is text is blank. I think I might have missed closing something. Yep, right here. All right, hold on. Oh, thanks, Joan, for the close on submit. I love the chat right now. It's it's super busy. I've just got to catch up on it. Sorry about this. All right, Mr. Mango. Laravel storing anything in the database? Yes, we are. We are storing a messages model in the database. So here, something broke. Let's go. I probably am just writing wishful coding. Oh, I forgot a comma right there. Okay, so here is our chat box right here. Here are the messages that are being stored in the database. And now we're going to create a way to send this data over to our backend. Thanks, Santosh, for the comma. So let's send data to our backend. So the question is what does Inertia give us that we can't already do with just Laravel and Vue.js, right? So if we built a traditional Laravel application, we set it in these Vue components on the front end, we would have to do this to get data to our backend. We would have to say fetch API / messages, right? And this would be method is post. Body is json.stringify this.form. I think that would do it. Then res, all that good stuff, right? So we would have to say, okay, I'm going to send data back to an API. And now we have to go in to our routes API, and we have to go down here and say, okay, handle creating a new message. And this will be route.post messages function request. And then we would validate the request. Send info back as JSON. So you're essentially building an API right here. And then, if you had a full CRUD application, you would have get a single, updates, create, delete, all of that good stuff. You would have to build out in an API. So now all of that logic moves into your API, and all of the logic moves into this, into your JavaScript. So you're essentially writing a lot of code to connect the backend and the front end. Right on, Mr. Mango. So let's see how we can do it with Inertia without having to write that API layer, all that good stuff. That should be fine to leave, I think. I don't know. So let's delete that. And let's see how we can do this with Inertia. So Inertia has a helper. We can say this.inertia.post messages, and we can say this.form. And that's it on the front end. So now we're taking the data and we're sending it to this messages endpoint. And over here, I can create the messages endpoint. We can say route, post. I'm going to start speeding this up. I think we're coming up to the end of this. Messages, function, request. Request. Like this. And then we can say message, create, request, input. There's a request all. And then we can return redirect to the hello page. I wish I named that messages. That's so confusing. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is how we would do it in kind of, if you had a Laravel form, you would just have the form say route post messages, and then you would create and then just redirect back to the original page, which is over here. And then you would be able to show all of that stuff again, right? So over here, if we had hi there, and I press enter, let's see, I broke something. It's probably in my view file. Submit is here. Form is there. Text area is there. Let's just do a button type of submit. Add a message. And then let's make sure we can actually do test. Oh, okay, that worked. Not entirely sure what that was, really. So what happened here is we actually submitted a form. Jonathan, I'm not sure what that was, but it looks like it's working now. Kind of terrifying, but good that we're here. So what we're doing here, right, is we have sent a post request to our Laravel route, a Laravel route, not a Laravel API. And this is the route we sent to. And we treat it as if it was a normal HTTP request, which means we can do all the cool things like validate. Yeah, I think that was it, Jonathan. Sometimes you just got to refresh to force it. So what we can do here also is we can validate things as we normally would with our Laravel apps. So let's go for like validated is equal to request validate. I'm going to say text is required, and we're going to say min is 50. And then down here, we can say message.create validated. So now your JavaScript developer, your PHP Laravel developers, you just build as if you've built a Laravel application since when Laravel was created, right? You just are building out, oh, here's a route post. I'm going to validate it. I'm going to create it. And then I'm going to redirect back to the other page. And then we'll show all the posts again, or all the messages again. And then down here in view, how do we handle errors now? We can say, well, we're going to get an errors prop, and it's going to be an object. And over here, we're going to say, give b if errors.text errors.text. So I'm going to finish this out, and then we'll talk about all of the benefits that Inertia gives us and a lot of the code. And hopefully you're seeing it. A lot of the code that we didn't have to write to build out an API and to connect to it from the front end, right? So let's see. I need to make sure that this is going to fail validation. So we're going to go over here. Min 50 is there. Let's go over here. We're going to say, hi there. Add a message. And notice that we didn't do a page refresh, and the error came through from the back end, and we were able to display it using view. And there was no page refresh. So if I do right click, inspect, and I'll refresh the page here. Let's go to network, XHR right here. Let's clear these out. We'll say, whoa, this is cool. That should fail validation since it isn't 50 characters. Add a message, and you get messages right here. The text must be at least 50 characters. And you see right here. So props, errors, the text must be at least 50 characters. So Inertia handles just making the connection to the backend, sending the props and errors back to your view components, and all without a page reload. So if I change this back to minimum 1, and we went over here and refreshed, said, hi, everybody, add a message. Check that out. No page refresh. It looks like a single page application. Everything is happening. I hope you like Inertia. This is really cool. And we could do some more stuff where we like empty out the text area when we add a message, right? But this is kind of the big benefit of the code that we had to write were essentially these two routes. Your hello route, where you just display all right here. This is your creation route, where you validate, create, and then redirect. And the only thing that changed from original Laravel Blade to Inertia is this was render, and now it is Inertia. How cool is that, right? And then over here, you just got your view component as if you were building out a view component, React, Svelte, whatever you decide. All right, so that's about everything I had for you all. The ability to create two Laravel routes, right? And then to set it up so that you have view components on the front end that were able to submit data like this. And then Inertia just handles the connection between the back end and the front end, and then just updates your front end application quickly and without a page refresh. Really, really fun stuff. Let's see. Looks like I left that message up a while. Sorry about that. All right, so that brings us up on close to the end of the Tech Talk. I see a lot of questions. Let me catch up. But while we're here, throw out any more questions you have. The creator of Inertia is in the chat with us, so definitely a great experience to have with Jonathan here. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, but let me catch up on. Darkav says I can refresh only a section in the page. Yes, there are partial. Where is it? Partial reloads. So the docs do a fantastic job of saying, look, I know you're probably thinking this is the next step. So let me go ahead and give you the docs on that. As far as authentication, there is a question on authentication. Let me paste this for partial reloads. So there's that. As far as authentication, if you go down here to authentication, the cool thing about this, look how short these docs are, is you just handle it as if you were building a Laravel application, and Inertia will handle the rest. Since it's making the request to the backend, you can go over here and just use your middleware like auth and all that good stuff. And Inertia will handle for you. All right. Any more questions? Let's keep going. Gonzalo, what stack do you prefer, Vue and Nux or Vue and Inertia? For me, I don't personally know Nuxt very well. So, and I know Laravel really well. So for me, I lean Vue, Inertia. And if we're going further, I kind of lean React these days, which Inertia also works with. Right on, Harold. Thanks for joining. Thanks for saying that. This was a dense talk because there's a lot of really fun stuff to get through. But overall, I think the message is fantastic of, look, build your Laravel application, build your front-end application, and guess what? They're going to connect to each other. You don't have to build an API. You don't have to make API calls. You don't have to worry about cores or any of those problems. You don't have to worry about JSON Web Tokens. A lot of that stuff is taken care of for us because we're just building out these great Laravel modern monolithic applications. Thanks, Riley. I appreciate you saying that. Ooh, SSR is coming soon. Yeah. So that's fantastic. Server-side rendering is coming soon. So the benefit of server-side rendering is that your entire page is kind of just exported to the user as HTML. And I imagine that Inertia can do all of the stuff after the fact. But the fact that your page is sent to the user as server-side rendered means it's going to be incredibly fast. Since there's no JavaScript, work in the client side to render the page. and you get the benefits of what you would expect from a Laravel application as far as like server side, really fast, static. Right on. Oh, Matt, thanks for saying that. Appreciate you joining. Thank you so much. Darkav, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, what do you all think of Inertia? It sounds like a lot of people are liking it. I like the progression of the chat. Is a lot of the chat at the beginning was like, you know what? Why do I need Inertia? What does it do? And then once you see what Inertia, once you see how much code Inertia saves you, for myself, it's like, oh, that's fantastic. And I think a lot of the moves moving forward, SEO benefits, Jonathan, absolutely. I think one of the benefits, I lost my thought. I don't know. Douglas, catch us on SSR when it's out. Absolutely. We'll definitely, there's a lot more stuff we can do with Inertia here. I think this is a good getting started with Inertia, but I think there's a lot to be said about building a real application. Maybe we'll take this chat app further and actually build out, where is it? Yep. Maybe we'll take this chat app further and maybe we'll build like a Slack clone on Tech Talk. That's something I've been wanting to do, and I think this is a fantastic setup for it. Before I go, if you want to chat with me, Chris __ Sev on Twitter. Also, please subscribe down below to the DigitalOcean channel. We are doing Tech Talks every week, pretty much. Mine are every 2 weeks, and I'm doing a lot on Laravel. I'll be doing a little bit more node work for anybody that wanted the node work. Yes, Jonathan, very good point. The demo app right here. So if you go to Inertia's docs down here, demo app, if you want to see like a full-fledged application, this Ping CRM is a fantastic showcase. And the cool thing about this is it's built in Vue, but if you scroll down, there's a lot of good third-party contributions for Laravel React, Svelte, Mithril, which I personally haven't used yet, Ruby Rails, if that's your tool. Jimmy Barrios, Vim rocks. I agree. Let's see. Balduino, yeah, when we build out a larger application, we'll definitely handle auth. The cool thing is Inertia makes that easy because it is Laravel auth. Yeah, so I think that'll wrap it up for us, everybody. That is a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining in the chat. Jonathan, thank you so much for creating all the cool things and joining. Really appreciate you being here. Jonathan says, I love session auth. Yeah, it just makes things easy, right? If you don't have to deal with Laravel's built-in authentication is very, very powerful, very strong, session-based auth. And the reason that a couple of these Laravel packages have been popping up is because of that API layer, right? You have like, Passport, you got, what's that F1? Fortify. All of these API auth things that we can get rid of if you're using Inertia. Right on. Thanks. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you all being here. Fikar, Mr. Mango, Manuel, Jonathan, of course, Riley, Dorman, Eric, Jimmy. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I think we'll wrap it up here. This Tech Talk will be recorded and on the DigitalOcean channel if you want to check it out. And of course, we'll have some more coming up. So stay tuned. Thanks, everybody, for joining. I'll see you next time.